Hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome to Minor Monday Report for Kaiserreich number 47, Wales. Now remember, we're going back through the backlog of these, so even though I did the Scotland one more recently, chronologically, this one was done first. I just haven't covered it yet. So just wanted to clarify that. Also, when I was doing my Kalterkrieg progress report overviews, everybody seemed to really like me doing it audiobook style. So since I've literally received zero complaints about that, I guess people really like listening to this while they're maybe doing chores or something. I'm going to continue to be doing that going forward unless I hear of a good reason to stop. So this Kaiserreich report is from Zimbabwe Salt Co. And he is the head of the Isles development. So here we go. As soon as I turn this music down, in 3, 2, 1. Unlike most other nations in the mod, which can only come about on their own accord, Wales, as an independent state, will have to come about only as a creation by an outside force, and will be a puppet regime with its politics decided by said outside force. However, we did give their politics some options nonetheless. First, let's take a look at Wales. It is released by a non-socialist nation, where it's headed by H.R. Jones, a longtime nationalist and head of the WHRA. Reactionary Wales. Should Wales be released by an authoritarian country, the interim government will transfer power to a civilian government under Plaid Cymru and headed by Saunders Lewis, and his rule can manifest in two different ways. Should Lewis deem it possible, a more loose rule will be implemented where the veneer of a republic will be maintained even though elections themselves will be rigged. In this path, Lewis may also give way for Ambrose Bebb to serve as a figurehead president with power vested in the prime minister. Alternatively, Lewis will have Jones dissolve the Provisional Legislative Committee. Whoa, sorry, my notes just like whoosh, shifted. Sorry. Okay. In this path, his rule of the new republic will be a dictatorship, putting him as paternal autocrat as opposed to authoritarian democrat in the other path. Though in both paths, Lewis will seek to implement a sort of distributionist economy. Finally, here is the reactionary tree. Democratic Wales. Should a nation with a more liberal democratic government occupy Wales, one of two things will happen. Either power will be given to the more moderate wing of Plaid Cymru under Lewis Valentine, in which Wales will be social conservative. Alternatively, power will be given to the left-leaning liberal Clement Davies, in which Wales will go social liberal. Both parties believe in pursuing Welsh civic nationalism and forging a twinkling welfare state for their fledgling democracy. Their only difference over what electoral system the new republic should take. Here is the democratic tree. Socialist Wales. If puppeted by a socialist country, Wales will skip the interim government and go straight to a new government made up from the remnants of the old British political scene. Unlike the other paths, Socialist Wales has another way to come about in the current content of the Union of Britain. It could be peacefully dissolved into England, Scotland, and Wales, and should this happen, this branch will be unlocked for Wales as if it were puppeted by a socialist power. Should a Socialist Wales be released, the leadership will be contested by Nicholas Iglaus, Lewis Jones, or S.O. Davies of the People's Party of Wales, the Welsh Labour and Welsh Syndicalist Society, respectively. All men broadly agree on how to guide their nascent state, though differences may emerge later on. And here is the socialist tree. The Welsh Army. Last but certainly not least, to finally ensure that your little Welsh client state is able to fend for itself, a proper army must be built. Officers, weapons, and advisors will need to be procured through various means, while Wales's allies will help it to reactivate defunct fort lines. Perhaps even a small Coast Guard and Air Corps will be pursued by the High Command, who you could view here. And finally, here's the full tree. I hope you've enjoyed this Minor Monday, shining a spot on a particularly minor part of the Kaiserreich world, but a part of it nonetheless. Keep an eye out for future progress reports and Minor Mondays as we get closer to the next update.